Hello guys, good evening to you all. So it's good to have you guys around. I would like to know if you are seeing me, if you can hear me. Can you please write me down in the chat box? If you can hear me, if you can see me, please write me down in the chat box so we can start. If you can see me, please write me down in the chat box so I'll be sure you can hear me and you can see me. So we can kick off with what we have for today. There's a chat box there, just write me down there. Alright, so today, what we have for today is a life as a 400 levels student. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. What are you going to come across in your 400 level? How do you go about it? How do you pass your 400 level? All right, very well. What are the challenges you're going to face, and how can you tackle those challenges as a BSc? That's what we're going to talk about. I'm Sir Lawrence, and I've been your tutor all this while. So it's good to have you around, my friend. So the question we ask ourselves now, I don't know the current place you're actually working, like your sewage program, where you're currently doing your sewage program. The advice I have for you right now is wherever you're working, doing your sewage now, you should like put it into consideration. Try to do your best, put in your best, then prepare for the 400 level, which is the last phase you are going into. Is actually the toughest phase of all. It's actually the toughest phase, okay? So how did I want to like share my story, how it all went. I'm currently an MBA student, so by God's grace. So how did it happen? How did I get all this I'm sharing with you guys? How can you learn? What will you learn from all this, and how will you solve those problems that you're going to encounter as a 400 level student? All right, so it all started in 100 level. So your 100 level, 200 level, you must have done that. I don't know what your current CGPA is right now. Okay, whatever it is right now, you can still boost it with this your sewage program. Okay, you can boost it with your sewage program if you put in your best towards it. Okay, so that time I worked in a mall. I worked in three departments during my sewage program. I worked in morgue, I worked in radiology, and I worked in histopathology. Those are the three departments I worked in during my sewage program. All right. So it was from morgue to radiology, then to from morgue to histopathology, then to radiology. So what were the things I did that time? The things I did that time was your logbook is very important. Ensure that you write every activity. Start with when you resume, start with the activities that you did. What did you do? Don't just state facts, don't just describe. Talk about what you did. I did this, I did that. All right. So those were the things I reported. All right. And by God's grace, that time I scored A in the sewage program and A after my sewage program. That's during the defense. All right. So these are tips that will help you also if you can apply them. Remember, the sewage program is a 15 unit course. You can imagine getting an A in a 15 unit course. You know what that means? That's going to boost your CGPA definitely. All right. So what I do that time is I will write my what I do the day when I resume what I do, then closure time, okay? And I avoid this tautology, alright? Not every time I'm putting I, you have to change the words, alright? But it has to illustrate, talk more about what you do, okay? So that's what I was doing at that time. So, but what I did that time was I didn't really write on my logbook. All right. So I had a small notebook where I put in every details. All right. I write every details of what I learned. All right. You know the summary, the logbook. What it does is it gives you opportunity to summarize all you've done in segments, just outlining them, all right, and then describing a little bit of it. But I took it upon myself that because I will need, I didn't know I would even need my the things I'm writing for my report. It was at the end of the day I saw the importance of those details I was writing. That's why I always advise you guys to always write in a separate notebook. Alright, always write in a separate notebook. From those notebook, from that those things you write in the notebook, you then get out far from there into your logbook. That's the best way. Why do you have to do that? The reason it's necessary to do that is because what you are writing in that short notebook is going to form what you are going to use for your report. You know, the report is a very broad description of all you've been doing during your CWH program, all right? So that's why it's very necessary that you write every details in that notebook, and then you collect the information, extract information from that notebook into your logbook. You summarize it. All right. So that's the advice I had for you. That's what I did during my time. So that's what I did during my law morgue, when I worked in morgue, histopathology, and then radiology. All right. So there's one thing you need to do also, submission of your logbook. Ensure that you submit your logbook every week, that it does not accumulate, because you know why? If you allow it to accumulate, at the end of the day the supervisor may find it hard to sign all of them at once. Just imagine when you guys are up to 30 or 40. You know, they are very busy persons. They don't really have that much time. Their time is always scheduled. So you have to ensure that you are breaking it down in bits. Ensure they are signing every week so it will be easier for you. You don't face difficult, because by November now, I think middle November, late November, early December, that period from middle to early December, you'll be ending this program. If that means that it's not up to 1 month again. It's not up to 4 weeks. Alright, so you'll be ending your program any moment from now. So once it's October now, you just have some months, and alright, so that's why you need to put in your best right now. Go through all those ones you've been doing before and try to rectify the mistakes you've been doing. Alright. So that's one thing I really advise you guys. Alright. Then your serious report. We're going to write your serious report at the end of that program. Alright, at the end of your serious program, you're going to write a report. What is a report? A report is a broad description of all you've been doing. Your logbook summarizes everything, but what your report will contain are it will contain information about the industry. That's they call it the agograms of the industry, like the departments in the industry, what is the function of those departments, what is the structure, little history of the institution, the place you worked in, or your industrial placement. It will be contained in your logbook, in your sewage report. And then you have a part that will now contain all of what you've done in details, in sequential order. All right, that's how you write your logbook, your report. You have to write it in sequential order. What's the workflow from this task? What did you do next? What did you do next? What was the next thing that is usually done? You know that there have to be a workflow, and in that workflow there are things that can happen. For example, during my time, since I worked in the morgue, histopathology and radiology, let's assume I'm talking about my histopathology. What do I talk about? I talk about the whole process, tissue processing. Alright, first of all, they have to register it, get it in. When they get it into the histopathology lab, what do? They have to register the case. So the first thing I'm going to write is registration. Then I'll talk about what are the processes that happen there, what are the details they take, what are the information that they take during that registration. That's one thing I'm going to write in that my report. Then I will move on to what happens next. The next thing that usually happens is the cut-off. I will talk about what what I'll talk about what I usually do, what is usually done in cut-off. The cut-off is usually done by the pathologist, alright. So what are the procedure, what are the things that he or she does, the procedures, alright. The types of samples, specimens, right. There are different types of specimens. You describe a little bit of it, you describe the procedure, you describe the precautions. You don't describe much of that. Let's for my example now, I don't have to describe much of that because that's more of the pathologist work, alright. So what I'm usually focused on are the precautions. What are the steps I took? What are the precautions? Alright, like they have what we call casketing. Casketing, yes, cassetting. Cassetting is the name, cassetting. I forgot most of listening to it. But when I can actually like picture and remember how we usually do it, alright. There's what we call cassetting. When we cut off the tissue, they first of all they clean it up, they cut it, and then they put it into a cassette. There's a cassette they usually put it into. Alright, so those procedures you describe them in your logbook. Then what happens next? That's how you report your what you've done in the logbook in your sewage report. Right, so that's the important. Then chapter 3 is the recommendation, what are the challenges you face and all that. All those things are in the report. I have a course on this, and I think I've shared that on the group, all right. So you can get that course and it will describe the whole details of your serial report, how to go about it, the step-by-step procedures. It's all in that report, all right, and those other bonuses that I have inputted into it. All right, so you can get that course. You can always send me a thing and I will give you access to the course, all right, for a little fee. All right, so now during this period now you may be asked to get your seminar topic, project topic, and probably you'll be asked to write a proposal, project proposal by now, all right. So take those things serious, start early. They say early birds they usually make it huge in the long run, right? So try to start getting a topic for your seminar because you know why? In 400 level, you're going to be so occupied with so many things, all right? So many things. You're going to have assignments, you're going to have presentations, you're going to have this. So all those bulky things, all those bulk of things you have, it will make you a lot, it will make you tense, all right? It will make you very, very tense. And if you're tense, you cannot actually get, you may not be able to get what you need. You may get yourself into confusion and all that. All right. So ensure that you start working on your seminar topic, your project topic. All right. Then meet your supervisor. They must have given you a supervisor, all right? So meet your supervisor. Who is your supervisor? Meet him or her, and then be polite. Be ready to learn. What they look out for are those who are ready to learn, those who follow instructions. When they tell you do this, try to do what they've done and give them a feedback. Those are the things they look out for. So get those topics, project and seminar, and then suggest it to them. Some of them will look at it and then modify the topic. Take those ones and go online, search for papers on that. Right. So I have a section where I'll talk about how to write a project work. So if you have your system, when the time comes, I'm going to create a course for you guys on how to write it. Then for those who don't know how to write that, I will also guide you. Okay, those who maybe they don't have a system or that will know how to go about that. Okay, so we'll talk about that. But ensure that you get a topic for your seminar, for your project. Okay, very necessary right now. Then your 400 level, when you go into 400 level, which is just January here, all right. You're going to 400 level January here, yeah. So January here, you be in, it's not even January sef. The semester next semester is starting November, alright. November, but they usually go for holidays that late November. So you're likely gonna resume January. That's the normal this thing. You're gonna resume January, alright. That's why your serious program may end November ending or early December. Okay, but you're gonna resume school January. So when you resume, how it's gonna be like? during that time when it will be like a change of environment. You will come into the environment you've been before, and you begin to see things in a different way. Yes, you're gonna see things in a different way. Like during my time, where I worked in exposed me to a lot of things. It taught me a lot of things, all right. So when I came in, I saw a different view. I got a different perspective of everything. All right. I began to appreciate my course even better. So you're gonna see it becomes a new environment for you. Then the first thing I'm gonna tell you is it will not be up to 1 week or 2 weeks. They're gonna tell you to submit your sewage report. And that's where people usually get confused. That's where the tension comes in. So right now, I advise you to start preparing ahead of that serious report. All right, start knowing how to do it. Start writing it if possible. Implement anything that you can implement to start getting it done. That when the time comes and they ask you to start submitting, you have something to submit to. And there are patterns you have to cite, reference, do all those things. Those things are very strenuous if you are starting late. But if you start early, it becomes easier for you, okay? So you're gonna be asked to submit your serial report 1 or 2 weeks after you resume. That's the first thing. Then they're gonna come up with a defense. There's a serious defense that usually comes out that comes up after your serious program. You're gonna carry out a defense. And that defense is very important because it's gonna form part of what we score you, because there are two scores they give, the one in your industry and the one in school. So you want for your industry after your before you even end up with when you before you end your program, right, your industrial training, there's a score that will be given to you. It could be an A, it could be a B, it could be a C, whatever, but don't go for a C, and try go for a A, alright. So it will be good. So at the end of the day, when they accumulate it, they put it together, you get a good score. Alright, because that's the main thing. Then, so when you resume now, you're going to have the defense, and they're going to score you for that defense. They will score you for your reports. They will score you for your logbook, and then they sum those things up, and that will form your score in school. So if you get an A, if you get a B, I don't suggest a C. So when you get those scores, they are going to accumulate them, and then you know your cumulative score. Could be an A, could be a B. All right. So that's why you need to put these things into consideration. So right now, you should start preparing report. You should start preparing ahead. All right, for that defense. All right, they're going to ask you. That's why everything you're doing right now in your industrial training, try to understand everything. Try to understand the procedures. Try to understand the equipment you're using, the machines you're using. Know how they work. What are their principles? You can go online, say the principles of these machines, know about it. All right, it's very necessary. So these are things you're going to come across. Then once you're done with that defense, the next thing that's going to come out well, the next thing that's going to come is your courses, 400 level courses. Yes, you start doing your 400 level courses. Depending if you're an anatomy student, a physiology student, pharmacology, medical biochemistry, this is the stage where you start doing your courses. And the advice I have for you right now, if you started earlier, it's nice, better, is to start reading bit by bit. I did that most of the time I had most that time during my CH program. I started reading ahead of my 400 level. I started reading ahead of my 400 level, right? Those courses, I had to get all the slides, get my materials, get PDFs, get MCQs, past question papers, and I prepared ahead of the time. That was so that when I go in there, it becomes easier. So it does not become something that I'm just starting. But when you start up something with all those tension, this defense, this report submission, and all those movements, you get so much tense. So I sought the advice of my predecessors. So I'm advising you right now to you should prepare ahead for your 400 level courses. Get those materials, get those slides, get those past question papers, all right? Get them and start preparing, all right? Start getting an overview of what you are going to see in your 400 level. Those courses, you need to know them. So you're going to be in your 400 level, they're going to ask you, they're going to have tons of assignments, all right? Tons of assignments. Submit this, submit that, submit this. They're going to submit a lot of assignments, all right, from different lecturers. The another thing you're going to do is practicals. There will be a lot of practicals. Yes, you're going to do a lot of practicals, all right, during your 400 level, but more of seminar presentations. You'll be asked to present on different topics. They will group you guys into different groups, all right, and then they will ask you, this is what you should go and find out about. This is what you should go and find out about. Tell us about it. Those are things that are going to what you're going to do during this during your 400 level. So you need to prepare ahead. The reason why they're doing that seminar presentation is to build your confidence, all right? Because you're going out of school after your 400 level and you're going to come across situations where you have to present yourself to people. All right, so they're trying to build that confidence in you. All right, that's what they're trying to do. So that is the purpose of that seminar presentation. So you're going to have assignment, practicals, and seminar presentation. That's first semester. So in first semester, what you're going to come across is once you resume your report, you submit, you do your defense, then you start your lectures, your classes. Then you'll be told to do assignment, you'll be told assignments and seminar presentations and practicals. Those are the things you're going to do in 400 level. Then your seminar now is the thing you're going to do in 400 level. You're going to be asked to write a seminar, choose a seminar topic, write on it, and then when you write on it, you give it to your supervisor, and then they approve it. Then you're going to present on that seminar. That's first semester. You're going to present. You see that first semester is so packed. There's so much workload in first semester, alright? So you need to take it very serious. You need to take it very, very, very serious. So you'll be asked to write and go for seminar, get your topic, prepare a seminar write up, submit for approval and all that. Then you're going to defend that seminar in first semester. All right, so that's what happens the first semester. The second semester you start talking about your project, but right now it's advisable to start your project now. Those persons that start their projects late, they end up going into this confusion. They they get so tense at the end of the day. So you need to start now. Follow up with your supervisor, get a topic, and then start preparing it. Prepare a proposal. If you can prepare that, I started my doing my IT. Yes, that was when I did my first um copy of my proposal. That was before December. I submitted to my supervisor, Professor Ibe. So when I submitted to her, she looked at it. I don't think she really approved it at that time. She just said I should resume and come and see her. So I already had what a sample proposal there already. Okay. So when we resumed, all of us under our team went to see her, and then we printed out the proposal and went to see her to describe our procedures. And then we talked, and she gave us some corrections, and then we went back and we made the corrections. She called us again, told us to present it. All right. She told us to produce a PowerPoint and all that. We prepared the PowerPoint for the proposal, right? I think the reason why she did that was to help us get involved in the procedures, to help us get a clue of how to defend the project. Right? Those were things I think she was trying to make us get familiar with. So that was what happened that time. So we had to prepare that PowerPoint and then we presented on it. So that gave me a clue on how my defense is going to be like. So having your proposal ready now it gives you an edge. It gives you an edge because when others are tensed, when others are thinking of how they are going to get their topics, how they are going to write their proposal, all those things with those 400 level courses, all jam-packed seminar assignments, all those things. All right, those things will come in and you'll be very tense. So it's better you start writing your proposal right now, your project proposal. Start putting it down, start getting something down, and send to your supervisor. Let them approve, let them look at it, and let them give you their corrections. So that when you resume by January, it becomes easier for you. Okay, so that's how I did my own that time. So when others were actually struggling doing their, I think people started writing their own. I think March, April. That was when the heat came in. I know that period um, second semester. The tension started coming in. So that time, what I do was that instead of focusing on my project, because I've seen all those corrections they've given me, given to me, and I've done it repeatedly. So it became a part of me. So what I was focusing on was not my project again, all right, because I was just focusing on how to get my data, and then I focused on my 400 level courses. So it made it easier for me, all right. But if you decide to leave your project, it's going to affect you honestly, because you're going to have a lot of work for your second semester courses, and then the assignments and the seminars. Then you now start talking about your project, which is very tense. All right. So you should start preparing it right now, so that when you resume that period where people will be tense, you just be doing maybe data collection, or data collection, and then you do your chapter 4 and 5, and that's all. Right. So that's the advice I have for you right now. Start preparing early. Okay. So these are things you're going to face in your first semester and your second semester. First semester is your seminar, your report, that's when you resume right now. But once you resume, the first thing they will ask you to do is to submit your logbook, your report, your series report. You'll be asked to write a series report and submit. Then you'll be asked to do it, you do a defense, all right, a series defense. You're gonna do that. Then you will have to, once you're done with that, you move on to seminar. All right, it just be maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks after. All right, 3 weeks after, I think 3 weeks after, you'll be asked to start preparing your seminar, your topic. You prepare the write-up, give to your supervisor, they submit and all that. Then you defend your seminar that first semester. That's this semester you're going into by January. Then your second semester, it's a brief semester, 2 weeks. After 2 weeks holiday, you come back again, and then your project will come in. That's where the tension comes in. So that's why you need to start preparing your proposal right now, so that you don't fall into that tension. Don't follow the multitude. Start preparing right now, okay? So you're going to start doing your project by that second semester, and your courses. Remember, in your first semester, you'll be doing seminars, presentation, you'll be doing your um, assignments, you'll be doing normal presentation, like you'll be giving topics. All right, so those things you need to prepare ahead of it, assignments, practical. Then your second semester is your project and those of second semester courses. So just prepare ahead of what you're going to come across in your 400 level. All right, so these are the major things you're going to come across in your 400 level. All right, so you need to give it your best shot. This is your last chance now. Like, seriously, you are in the last phase of your Bsc, Bsc. Okay, you're in the last phase right now, so give it your best shot. If you've had low scores in previous years, your CGPA was not okay, you can make out something from this. All right, your serious program, get a good grade. Let's say you get an A there, then you accumulate, you times it, they multiply it with your 15 units, a 15 unit course. You can imagine what that can do to your CGPA. All right, it will boost it a lot. Then you come your 400 level, you are good in your seminar, and you score very well in seminar. All right, an A in seminar, a B, but just score well, very well. Okay, you see, it can actually boost your score, your 400 level courses. You give it your best shot, it will actually boost your score. Okay, so I advise you to give it your best shot. So what are my last advice? My last advice are this: take your serious program very serious. All right, start preparing for 400 level courses, then seminar and project, start preparing for them today. All right, start preparing for them, start preparing your proposal. All right, give it your best shot, prepare for everything. Then build yourself personally, build yourself. Then in finance, build yourself, because after school right now, you're going to come across, you're going to go into a different world. Okay, you're going to go into a different world, so you need to start building yourself in that aspect. Okay, all right, so that's what I have for you today. In all, give everything, put everything in the hands of God. All right, so these are the tips I have for you today. Make sure that you follow up with them, and I can assure you that if you can follow up with this, prepare ahead of time. They say early birds, they usually get the biggest share in the long run. So start early, okay? So I wish you guys the best. All right, I wish you guys the best. I don't know if you have questions. Like we're coming to the end of this section right now. I don't know if you have questions. You can actually chat me down in the chat box. I'll be typing right now, so you can ask your question on this chat box. What you're gonna see now. All right, so you can ask your questions there. You can see this showing up now. So you can ask your questions. If you have any question, just drop it there, and I will answer them. Okay. So if you have any question, you can ask your questions. Okay. So we'll be closing this section soon. All right. No question. All right. In the absence of question, we're coming to the end of this section. So it's good to have you around, my friend. So I wish you the best in your courses, in your 400 level, this last phase. Okay, give it your best shot. All right. See you guys. We'll talk later. Bye.